Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks,
Steve.
there he is. Crazy
Hey,
King
Crazy
on the
Lou.
scene. Crazy Lou, we are
What's up,
live
guys?
tonight, sir. How you feeling?
Oh, we're live. What's up?
We are,
What's up, man? We're doing
we are
good.
live, brother. Yeah, thank you so much for being part here. Listen, I mean, it wouldn't be the Xbox Factor podcast without an outburst from Crazy Lou Gaming, who's ready to talk Xbox news. And what do we have, folks? We have breaking news. What a day for Xbox fans, because we have some information coming the way of Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, and even the Xbox Wire on some specifics on the show for this June. They did some really funny stuff with redacted on what exactly is going to be shown. There is going to be a second showcase after the main showcase that is, well, going to be about Activision and Call of Duty. And it's a big deal, folks, because this year, Xbox holds the sole marketing rights for the new Black Ops, which is, of course, rumored to be taking place in the Gulf War. This is going to be a big game. It's going to be an even bigger game because it's dropping into Xbox Game Pass day and date. At this showcase, which we'll get into momentarily, we have specifics on what's going to be shown, what date. I'm going to be in LA for that weekend. I am so excited. Obviously, there are a lot of people going. King David will be out there. Lord Cognito will be out there. Kay Asante will be out there. If you're going to be out in LA and you want to hook up, you want to, hang out, maybe clank a Dr. Pepper or two, let me know in the DMs. Reach out to me so we can, of course, meet in person, because meeting in real life is what it's all about. It's what makes these events so much fun. But let's get into the introductions, because we have a lot, and I mean a lot, to get into. There is so much Xbox news. I don't know if we can fit everything here today, but we're going to certainly give it the old college effort. And returning to the house, not through the rear entrance, right from the front door. He's one of us. He's a part of the Xbox Factor podcast. He's always welcome in the kingdom. Steel Rain, my brother, one half of the dynamic duo known as Living Split Screen on Saturday mornings, but we'll get to that in outros. How you feeling, dude?
Hey, man. Well, as Mr. Live of Raw and Uncut himself, it's always a great time to be here on Xbox Factor with you, Boom. And we got Louie in the building. We know it's about to get crazy. And honestly, man, I just have been submerged, or no, I don't think submerged would be a good word, because I haven't been underwater, but I have been trying to figure out what is going on in the wastelands of Fallout 4, man. This time running in there 700 plus mods. Again, I'm not playing it in its original vision, but the way that I'm playing it, I'm having a supreme time with it. Just got done with my main bit of settlement building, built off of the Red Rocket little garage that they got in there, and everything is looking good and set up. So I think I'm ready to go save my son now, see where Sean is at and whatnot. So shout out to Fallout. Still haven't watched the show, so I guess the FOMO just of people being hype about it just gave me the additional push that I needed to try it once again. And I don't know, something about it hooked me this time. Maybe it was the right set of mods, who knows? But yeah, man, so having a good time with that. And I've been gaming, also been playing some Megaton Musashi, which we were talking about in the background. It's a game that came out in 2021 on Switch and PlayStation 4 and 5. But it just recently came out to Steam in PC. It's actually under Epic for come to find out. And it's an action mecha type game, man. Base premise is humanity got invaded by aliens. There's a hole in our earth now, and people are in the Matrix, and we're just trying to fight our way out with big robots that you can customize. Good action combat, good anime story if you're into that kind of thing. Presentation's super dope. It's an under the radar game that made by Level 5, by the way. So if those of y'all are interested, but yeah, man, that's been what I've been into. It's wonderful to be here. I'm ready to lock in this conversation, and appreciate you for having me on, Boom.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for the recommendation because I'm definitely going to check that out. I am playing Fallout 4. It is no mods. I'm playing on the Series X, which is right in front of you. I want to say I just hit level 15. I restarted it, obviously. I don't remember from 9 years ago exactly what I was doing with the update. I was like, you know what? Let me start over. It's fresh. I have a really nice power armor. I got a real dope like flamethrower gun that shoots like lobs these giant balls of fire, and it sets everybody on fire, which is pretty dope. So again, I think I'm level 15. I think I'm maybe 16 or 17 hours in. It's an old game, but you know what? Old games, they have a place in this world, and I'm enjoying the H out of it. Crazy Lou Gaming. How you feeling? Good morning or good afternoon, sir. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, Mr. BoomStick. Awesome to be here. Hanging out with Steel and Ray, man. It's been a while. It's been around, Mr. Steel. It's been a while, man. It's been a while, long time. But hey, I've been playing Fallout 4 too, man. I restarted it. I remember I didn't get into it back in the day, but after watching the TV show, man, I said, you know what? I'm gonna play this game now, man. I'm level 22 now. I did not do mods, and man, it's just great. It's just great. It's just and you got to get this machine gun, man. It's called the Wounded. I don't know, remember the name, but it's a machine gun that pretty much it causes bleeding effect.
Okay.
And man, everything you do with that machine gun, even the big monsters, you can take them down. That machine gun is so broken. It's the best weapon out there in Fallout. You got to get that machine gun. It's a Tommy gun. Best thing, man.
I have a Tommy gun, but it doesn't do any of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Somehow or another, I got the short end of the stick.
You gotta get that. You gotta get that. It's the best machine gun. I don't know how I got it because if you ask me, I remember because I didn't do the story. I just started doing side missions. You know everything about side missions. Oh man, and I got it through the side missions. I don't remember which one, but man, that is the best Tommy gun out there. You get that? You can defeat anything in that game. Anything. Great thing.
Well, listen, I'm going to look for it. And again, if you're using mods, good on you. I don't. I mean, I know that it's a totally different game when you use the mods. I still want the achievements. So I know that when you use the mods, you don't get achievements. But then again, I'm kind of wondering, man. I mean, I've already played half through the game. Do I really care about achievements? Or do I really want to enjoy this game? I might have to try out the mods. I'm going to see. I'm gonna play it by ear. As we wait for Infinite Umbra to arrive, hopefully he has not fallen asleep because, you know, he does work midnights. So obviously when he gets out of work, it's super early. So he's got to find a way to keep himself up. I just actually, he's signing in now. So he will be here momentarily. So listen, while we wait for Umbra to get here, which should be in any second now, we got to talk about the breaking news, folks. I'm super stoked. We have confirmation of what Xbox is doing. And listen, we're getting closer. June will be here before you know it. It's going to be Sunday, June 9th. I will get all of the particulars. I'm going to read the pressers from everybody involved. We'll start first with Phil Spencer. Obviously, well, Phil is the head of Microsoft Gaming. He just posted this, and he says this: we're excited to share updates from our partners and our own creative teams across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios. Tune in 10 a.m. Pacific time on June 9th for the Xbox Games Showcase, followed by Redacted Direct. And that's exactly what it is. So, okay. What Redacted Direct is he talking about? I would imagine it has all to do with Call of Duty. And I'm telling you, folks, it is going to be a party. This is what I think Xbox as a company have been waiting for. They have sole control over Call of Duty. No more sharing with PlayStation. No more PlayStation gamers, especially new ones, thinking that Call of Duty is exclusive to the brand. They lost that. That is now owned by Microsoft. They have controlling stakes in what and who talks about it. And obviously, this fall, it is going to be a big deal for the company. And again, am I making money out of the deal? No, I'm not making a dime out of it. But what I am getting out of it is the more money that they make, the more that goes into Xbox Game Pass. And the more that goes into Xbox Game Pass, we all win as gamers and, more importantly, consumers, right? So Steele, let me read you a little bit of the presser that comes the way of the Xbox Wire. This was posted moments ago. It was written by Joe Scribbles of the who is the Xbox Wire editor-in-chief, and he says very simply, mark your calendars. The Xbox Game Showcase will be live streamed on June 9th, 2024, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and 6 p.m. BST time. Additional time zones are listed below. Like our double feature last year, would start with the Starfield Direct. Immediately following the showcase, we'll be airing a special deep dive into the next installment of a beloved franchise. We can't say much, so for now, we'll call it the Xbox Game Showcase, followed by the Redacted Direct. This will be our first showcase featuring games in our portfolio of studios across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios, in addition to titles from our third-party partners. You'll be able to enjoy both our June 9th live streams through the various outlets and over 30 languages, and American Sign Language and English audio descriptions are listed. And of course, it has a bunch of times. It has a bunch of places where you can click, where you can watch it, you can preload it, and just wait for it. Obviously, June 9th is a long time away. Don't wait for it. It's probably not posted now. Steele, this is a big deal. This is a great way to open up this particular show because, well, we are an Xbox show. Let's talk about it, man. June 9th, and we are going to get the first time Activision Blizzard content right along with Bethesda, right along with Xbox Game Studios. This seems like it's going to be a massive stream for Xbox.
Oh, I think it's going to be extremely enormous, man. Because if everything is leading true, and I just try to look up some additional information just to see if there's any more clarity on it. The marketing deal for Call of Duty ended for PlayStation this year. I don't know if it's ended now or if it ends in October or if it ends in whenever. I would have to imagine it ended a bit maybe at the beginning of this year. If that's the case, they're about to hit people upside the head come June, right? Because not only do you have all the games that people have been kind of worried about, your Avoweds, possibly you start talking about why can't I think my name? It went Perfect Dark. There you go. Went out of nowhere. Maybe we'll probably more than likely get an update on Perfect Dark, but let's just stick with what we know for sure and things that have been teased, right? For me, by itself, the June showcase, if they show something Gears related, is already going to be a winner for me, right? Because the main reasoning for that is because people I've come to realize and see are downplaying Gears quite a bit, and I understand. Maybe multiplayer is not for everybody. There is a huge difficulty spike when it comes to that, but that doesn't take away of what Gears was as a franchise and why it became as popular as it did, or even notable for whatever reason, and why it can be that very same thing again. And from everybody who's played Gears 5 as an example, you should know, or have at least been following the Gears story, you should know and realize the direction that Gears of War is about to go. And I think that this is the time that they also will bring back the name Gears of War. Because that's what the game is going to be, is Gears of War 5, in my belief. And I think that's going to be a huge way that you open up the floor, at least. I think it's going to be an opening piece, probably, just to get it out of the way and get people just in gasp already with that potential Marcus Phoenix collection, following up right in the middle of that announcement, right towards the end of it, and saying, hey, it's going to be available right now or after the showcase or sometime that summer before the fall, because I think they want to get it out before the Starfield DLC update, which is something else they're going to also talk about. And from the previous showcase that Starfield gave us, you can only imagine what they're going to try to put into this next this first expansion they previously called it for Starfield. Now, the main thing for me is I hope that it is going to engage me enough to jump back in, because for me, when I play these style of games, single player games especially, once I beat them, I tend to not go back. CD Projekt Red dropped the DLC for Cyberpunk as an example, and I'm probably never going to end up touching the game or touching the DLC because I don't do that. That's an unfortunate thing for me, and one of the most unfortunate things about Starfield is seeing all the mods and everything come out. It's just that is a me problem when it comes to single player games, and why I always say that these games end up being way grander games 6 months, a year later, which is unfortunate because now the games are complete or becoming complete. But to each his own, maybe they do pull me in. So that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to. But overall, I think this showcase is going to be similar to ones of old, right? Mainly what I mean by that is getting the hype back in the engagement back into the conversation and really starting that spark again after you've had a beginning or 6 months into the year, kind of dry a little bit, right? Hellblade comes out next month. So there may be that additional hype coming off of that we may be hearing, but it's going to be running dry by then because look, we're in May. I mean, yes, it's a month later, but people are very quick about these things, right? Hellblade is going to be a moment, I believe, and hopefully it stays and people say, man, this gets me even more excited for the showcase because if this is the level of quality that we're coming to expect, man, do we get the Fable announcement where it's a beginning of 2025 or spring 2025? Do you get that perfect Avowed trailer finally that people have been looking for, where they tame that balance between the combat that I was kind of standoffish about, like, it looks kind of stale, and the adventure that people are looking for from that team? Also, again, Perfect Dark, like I mentioned earlier, there's just a slew of different games, and also not considering the big Game Pass announcements that can happen during this, and Call of Duty may very well be part of that. It only makes sense for how everything has been leaning. If Call of Duty ends up being in Game Pass come this fall, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Black Ops. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a guaranteed winner. If you wanted to see a surge in subscription services, whether you think that that's a positive or not, this is the move that they make to get that additional 50 million in there. When you see people across the road saying, or you really start experiencing the conversation, because that's what's going to cause it, right? That people see that, oh man, the new Call of Duty is in Game Pass and I gotta buy it on my PlayStation. Mom, I think I want to get an Xbox for Christmas. I mean, that just makes more sense this time around. I have
a thought and a theory with that, Steel Rain.
Oh, they got a handheld coming too? Mom, I want to play Call of Duty on that handheld. It's going to be crazy. These are the options that may be available. And again, I could just be shooting for the moon, but again, we're on an Xbox podcast and I want to beat on the chest for the green ooze that is being injected into my arms. I feel like Bane out here, guys, with what Xbox has the potential to do. Xbox is literally it's going to be like the scene in Dark Knight. They're going to walk up behind PlayStation, or PlayStation gonna go for the punch like they're Batman, and Xbox is gonna grab them up, put them up in the air, and just break their back right over that knee. That's what I'm anticipating, man. So that's what's getting me excited. And I don't know, the energy is just feeling right for what I am expecting and seeing for what's possible at June Showcase. So.
Again, great conversation all around. You're 100%. But I'm going to break it down for you, Louis. This is my thought. I'm going to add some context to the hotness, if you will, of what was just dropped by Steel Rain, as he is known to do. So a couple of years ago, all the way back to 2019, Sony did something bombastic. And they released a PlayStation 4 Slim that had it was a custom console with the OG Spider-Man paint job on it, right? And in that bundle, they added Spider-Man 2018. Mm-hmm. Now, why that's important to this conversation is they sold it at $200. And what they did for their company was literally everyone that is anyone got a PlayStation 4 for Christmas. Mm-hmm. With Spider-Man 2018, right? They did something during Black Friday that has never been matched again. And console sales with that particular console were undeniably just outrageous. So here's my thought and theory. Okay. And again, I'm not making any money out of it. I mean, I have Xbox stock up over here, but it's not enough to pay for the house. So it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me, Steel Rain and Crazy Lou Gaming, is the fact that, well, the more money they make, the more I get as a consumer, which means that, let's say, for instance, they don't need to sell 5 million copies of Blops or Black Ops on Xbox because people are going to subscribe in droves. Well, my thought and my theory, especially with the fact that there might be a handheld reveal at this show in June. And again, that's just speculation, right? That's speculation. But here is where it gets bananas. Right now, if you're a good hunter, you could probably find an Xbox Series S for under $250. And if you are someone that actually looks for sales, you might be able to find a Series X for about $399, depending on if someone is running a deal or not, right? Well, this holiday, in my mind, I can see not only the advertising on the boxes for the Series X and the Series S, that is going to be Call of Duty, right? That is going to be the breadwinner. As great as many of their first parties are going to be, they know how to appeal to the masses. If the marketing people at Xbox want someone to hire, I'm right here. I'll take the rookie salary to come in. It's not a problem, right? They put that, whatever Call of Duty is going to be on the box, Black Ops, Gulf War, on these boxes. And during the holiday, they dropped the Series S to $200 and they dropped the Series X to $399. You are going to see a seismic shift in who is selling consoles. And what's more important is subscriptions. And people, even if you're on the other side of the aisle, I don't care if you are Mr. and Mrs. PlayStation till death do you part. There is something to be said in the current financial climate that we're in 2024. I don't know at any human that is not BSing for trying to win a console war is going to say, I'll spend $67.43 on the new Black Ops, or I can go download it for $16.99 a month. You are crazy if you don't think there's going to be a migration, because people aren't going to get rid of their consoles. And just for more context to it, Louis, who is the audience for the PlayStation? Is that the hardcore? No, they're about 12%. The rest of it is probably the normies, the casual gamers who buy 3 games a year. This is going to be big. Let's talk about it.
Mr. BoomStick, like you said, make a console like that, put Call of Duty all over the place. I mean, they got to market that thing, and they got to market it like crazy. And that's something that I've been screaming about Xbox. I've been saying Xbox work better on that marketing. We need better marketing. We need you guys to do some powerful marketing. We need you guys to deliver. We need you guys to show, so that way people can say, okay, let me go buy an Xbox. Because that's the thing, though. We need everybody to go ahead and say, I need to go buy an Xbox. And with that Call of Duty dropping by, because we're excited about after this ABK deal, that Call of Duty, especially what they announced today, we're going to see that Call of Duty is finally, after how many years it's been since Xbox has announced a Call of Duty on the showcase? It's been a long time, right? So now they're gonna announce it. Oh man, it's gonna be insane. And they gotta put it on the console. They gotta even make a special console, because that's the thing though. They gotta make a special console or with a special skill. I don't know, just do something special. And like you said, Mr. Brucey, drop the price so it can sell. People can go get it, especially on the Black Friday. Heck yeah, why the heck not? Do that, because that way, that number that we saw the other day, which is 31%, and we all saw again and again. Here we go. That's the favorite word, doom and gloom, because it's 31% down. My God, that way that thing goes up, right? And we see that hardware is actually selling. People are actually getting it to do what we do best, Mr. Boomstick, and that is to play games on it. And not only that, Mr. Boomstick, I mean, man. Because right now, we've been talking about Call of Duty. We all know Call of Duty is a big game, but what about the rest of the games? What about those games that they have back there that they need to be announced that we need to talk about. I mean, like I was still mentioning, Perfect Dark, and we need to talk about some State of Decay. This showcase, no wonder. And now I totally understand even more, because I was already, I understood why they didn't have a BlizzCon. It's cool. And no wonder they did not have a BlizzCon, because they got so much stuff to announce. I mean, this is going to be a big showcase. They're going to show a lot of games. I'm telling you, I feel it. They're going to show a lot of the stuff they've been, working from with other partners and stuff like that, because we need to see Contraband. We need to see what's going on with that. We need to see all the other games that they have on the side that we probably don't know of. We need to hear about Gears. We need to hear about the Gears Marcus Phoenix Slash. We need to hear about everything they have right there. And this is the time for them to do it, especially since their competition, which is Sony, right now is dried up. I mean, they threw out all the games, and right now they're dried up. And Xbox, right now is the time for you to say, okay, let me get full gear in. Let me show what I have, and let's burn this thing up, man. Let's do this. That's what Xbox got to do. Seriously. And the marketing, get really better at it. Like you said, Mr. BoomStick, console, Black Friday, let's go, lower price.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know that there's going to be some console warriors out there talking about money. I don't care. I don't think you should care. I think what you should care as a fan of gaming, of saving money on your subscription service that you pay for, getting the most value out of the show, and the value of that is going to be games coming into that service. This is not going to be the biggest, and again, depending on who you ask, I don't think this is going to be the biggest part of the show, Steel Rain. I think that this is going to be a major part for sure, because anything Call of Duty is a big deal, and it's an even bigger deal that Microsoft owns that IP, and it's a part of Activision, yes, but it's also a part of Xbox as a first-party game. That is a big deal. What's interesting, because there is just literally so much to cover. I want to pull up my particular, because obviously Gears is going to be there in a big way. Now, I really, oh, you know what? I did send it to you guys. Hold on just a second. Let me jump in here and find where I know I sent it to Steele. So Tom Warren has been incredibly busy. Who is Tom Warren? Well, he is a lead journalist for The Verge. I like Tom a lot. I think Tom gets it right way more than he gets it wrong. And listen, right now, folks, I hate to tell you this, Stellar Yams and whatever else you got going on in PlayStation World, it's good. The game is obviously a good-looking game. A lot of people are enjoying it. Scored, decently. And again, depending on who you ask, I think 82, 83 is a great score. For others, they want 90s or above. That's fine. Helldivers doing really good for Sony, even though the split is a little higher on PC. That's perfectly fine. There is an audience. But to be fair, there really has not been a whole lot of information for Sony fans. They've had a few games come out, and quite a few of them are well-named games. Obviously the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out. Unfortunately, that didn't do so well. 2.5 million copies sold, tremendously underperformed for Square. Stellar Blade came out, sold relatively well. Yeah, it is doing well. It is. Is it doing as well as what maybe a first-party game would do? I'm not here to judge or otherwise. But why I bring up Tom Warren and why I want to keep this Xbox train rolling, folks, is the fact that this morning we have some information from Tom Warren, and it is a tease, but it is something that should get you excited if you are a fan, Steel Rain, of the Coalition, because the Coalition is someone that is going to be bringing us Gear 6. We heard about it a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be there. There's going to be a big reveal. I would imagine that somehow or another, they have found a way to benchmark Unreal Engine 5 because they are the masters of that particular engine. The Unreal Engine is something that's in their DNA. Well, Speaking to someone on Twitter who goes by the name of Tanner, they say hopefully they show Gears 6 in regards to the announcement at of the show for June 9th. Well,
Mhm.
Tom simply responds by saying they're showing more than Gear 6 with a happy face smile. I'm sorry, what? Like, we know that they've been working on a unannounced project. Is that project what I talked about months ago, and what Mag and even Special Nick of the Xbox Era talked about? Is that the Gears collection, or is that something else? Look, I'm telling you right now, the news bombs just keep hitting one after another. Here's another one, Steel Rain. Let's
Mhm.
talk about it.
Man, just the idea of Gears coming back is such an exciting thing because, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's been so downplayed and overlooked, and there's a whole generation of people that haven't truly experienced it, along with PC gamers, right? No matter what, there's a certain type of gamer that's not going to transcend boundaries for themselves, but maybe they got that taste with 5 as an example, 4, and want to see what the original trilogy was like, and see why people truly fell in love with the IP, and why it even stands as I would say, a pillar for Epic in general, and for the Unreal Engine. If there's anybody who's going to prove to us as well what's possible with Unreal to solve all the problems that we've been seeing, to guarantee the 60 frames day one, and truly bring out the quality and what the box is capable of, I think it's going to be the Coalition. The Coalition has done nothing but it's a little bit topsy turvy, to be honest, when you get into the minutia of it. But on a very upfront level, the Coalition has proven that they are dedicated, committed, and love the IP from top to bottom. I think much more than even 343 did when they were given the transition from for Halo. Although I loved every game in that franchise, I think Gears is a bit different because from the very beginning, I don't think 1 through 5, even considering Judgment, if you want to throw that in there for the 6th game, which is a prequel, by the way, before Gears 1, every one of their stories has been on point, has been unique, and has stood the test of time, in my belief. So outside of Gears 5's, let's say, their open worldness, which I don't think really worked for Gears per se, at least riding around the skiff and stuff. It was fun, and I love some of the interactivity of it, but picking up, I don't know, what were they, legendary kind of weapons, torque bows that could shoot faster, and certain other guns that did special things. I think that added a little bit of corniness to Gears versus adding more of the fear factor to it. Hey, if I go too far out of this boundary,
Survival
the
horror
krill comes
aspect.
in. Yes, or if I go over here, oh man, I might get run over by this horde of not locusts now, which I will also like to see come back, which supposedly they're not done with. And if you're familiar with the story, you can kind of see that there's a lot of lineage in this game that hasn't been spoken to yet. And also for the choice, I mean, if you haven't played Gears 5 or even played Gears Hivebusters, I would definitely recommend you doing so that you can at least see why I may be hype of what the next decision for Gears may be. That decision that you have to make between one or the other in Gears 5, and that's all that I'll say about it, is such a daring thing, and I want to see where they decide to take the story to reel everybody back in. It's been years for since Gears is released, so 2019, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, since Gears 5 came out. So, I mean, again, there's been plenty of time in between games. This is the most time that they've ever been given as well between games, and I think that's also a very exciting thing for me. Again, you went from a franchise that was that Xbox was extremely dependent on. If you did not release a game every 2 years, there wasn't much more content to be released. Same thing with Halo. now you are given true time to drag out whatever quality that you want to do. Maybe you get some extra mantle moves. Maybe you get some extra combat in there. Maybe now Gears is able to evolve into something completely different than even I am able to anticipate, which is what I've been hoping for, right? Those elements from The Last of Us that Xbox has been speaking to that they want to pull from. Maybe the coalition implements some of those things. I can see Gears, we are running down this hallway. I run into a group of locusts. Maybe I run up the one, I grab him on the shoulder and I pump the shotgun in his stomach. And then the next one, I kick him, give him a good Spartan kick, and I run up on him and chainsaw him on the floor. And then the next guy, I whip out the grenade and I tag him on the head and I roadie run out of the way. Maybe you're able to do these types of things and they're more fluent and engaging, and this is what Gears has been needing, right? So that's what gets me truly excited about even the tease of it this time around. I don't think it's a overshot or kind of like how Splinter Cell's kind of been. Every year we've been wanting Splinter Cell, right? Yeah. I think this time with the position that Xbox is in, the position that Coalition is in, just the way that the cards are being put on the table currently, I think we have if we were playing spades, I think they got at least 13 books in their hand. That's game. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. Listen, Hargeet, if you're listening, because you're in the chat, I'm going to send you a link. You want to jump in because he's always here for these things. So pardon me, just, listen, I'm doing this live. So, you know what? I got to email him because he's not on social media. I'm going to bring in Louis. Louis, look.
What's up?
The one thing that has been absent from the Xbox community dating back a couple of months ago. Oh, we got even Umbra, Umbra, Infinite Umbra's here. Infinite, what's up, brother? How's everything?
What's up, Boom? What's up, guys? Good morning, everybody. Yeah, sorry for that. As you know, Sandman paid me a visit.
As he should. You work midnight, so
he got me.
That's what happened, man.
Yeah.
Listen, we're happy to have you here. We obviously are talking about the breaking news. We have confirmation that the Xbox showcase is going to be June 9th. Everyone is getting excited. The hype has returned to Xbox. We're talking about some Tom Warren fervor, if you will, about not only Gears 6 being at the showcase. There's going to be something else from the Coalition. We don't know what it is. Louis, look. I think that if you're going to show off Gear 6, if you want people to be excited about this new game, I think you're going to have to introduce people to the franchise.
Yep.
How do you do that? Well, you don't do that with cue cards. You don't do that with a manga. You don't do that with a movie or a film. You could. But the way that gamers understand timelines and the way things are by showing us games. Mm-hmm. And for quite a while, we've been hearing about the Gears of War collection. We've been hearing about the fact that it might be and has been done in Unreal Engine 5. If that, in fact, is the case, that is going to be a retelling of a game, of a trilogy that is by far, folks, I don't care what brand you rep for, there is no better trilogy outside of Halo 1, 2, and 3 than Gears 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry. I will put that up against any Nintendo franchise. I will put that up against any PlayStation franchise. Gears of War is one of the finest and most pointed and important parts of what makes Xbox Xbox. We could get a retelling in Unreal Engine 5. Let's talk about it.
I mean, Mr. BoomStick, why the heck not? Give us a collection. It's well deserved. Bring back all those Gears of War games to what's new and what's happening on these consoles. I mean, why the heck not? Make it Unreal 5. Give us a 60 FPS. Make it native 4K so we can enjoy all of these games. And like how Steel was saying, have that multiplayer be so sweet, so soft, so fluent that we can enjoy, like how we have to enjoy them on these consoles, baby. I mean, that's how we got to have it. And they got to give us that collection. It has to come back. It has to come back, especially, since, what was it, last gen Xbox One? All we had was a remake of the first one, wasn't it? We got a remake of the first one.
Yeah, the Ultimate Edition, yes.
Yeah, we had just the first one, but what happened to the others? I mean, dang. Why didn't y'all bring them back? So now is the time for them to sit down and say, okay, let's bring all these stuff back. Because look, Gears of War 5, when you play it on the Xbox Series X, oh baby, it runs beautiful. It moves beautiful. Everything is beautiful about that game. I mean, there's just nothing bad to talk about that game, about how beautiful it looks on that Series X. Imagine they bring that whole franchise over here with multiplayer and everything, man. Oh baby, it's gonna be just I don't know, I don't even know, just hyped. I'm so hyped that if that actually comes out, they also got to give us a console, because man, oh man, you remember that Xbox One? What was it? What was it called? I keep forgetting the small
Gears Edition?
the Gears Edition. Oh, that
I had
red
one.
one.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was dope.
Oh my
Yes.
god,
They had a
that
blue one as well.
Yeah, the blue one. I did not like the blue one though.
It was a 1S, yeah.
Yeah, the 1S. My God, that 1S was beautiful. Man, they got to give us something like that too. They got to. Oh man. Oh.
Yeah, it's. I mean, listen, I don't know if there's going to be. I mean, you would love a custom console or even a wrap at this point, because the wraps obviously is something they did with Starfield. Everyone that is anyone bought it. They had a controller to go with it. They had a bunch of stuff. Whenever Gears 5 is going to come out, I'm thinking potentially. I said Gears 5. Gears 6, yeah, is going to be. I don't know if it's 2025. I don't know if you hold this game for a launch title in 26 with your new set of consoles. I think you should. Which, I mean, again, we'll see. But look, at the end of the day, if you are someone that has been a bit down on Xbox, maybe what happened after the business update kind of tainted you as a fan. You don't like the idea of certain franchises going. I get it, because I'm right there with you. I'm an old dog, and I'm never gonna bend the knee for accepting certain games on other platforms. But that's my problem to deal with. But I am going to tell you that as an Xbox fan, just opening this show, we're only 41 minutes in. We're talking about the showcase. We're talking about Gears. There are raging rumors that there might be something Halo there. Now, obviously, you want to talk about pillars. If this show is going to be big, as a matter of fact, Tom Warren, folks, just tweeted, and I got to find it. Bloody H. Hold on a sec. I had it in front of me. I think it was, I got to shout out Pong So, who actually, Pong So is the one that posted this. So Tom Warren just posted this. I want to say it's a few minutes ago. The Xbox Games Showcase will air on Sunday, June 9th. Again, we all know that. It's going to be a big one this year, with new games and release dates, followed by a Call of Duty Direct. Here are all the details. But you see, it's that we know the details because we pulled it from the Xbox Wire. So, of course, shout out to Tom Warren for giving us out there. He constantly puts stuff out there. And not everyone agrees that he's a journalist you could trust. I'm not going to fight you if you feel that way. There's a super chat I got to get to that actually specifically says that. But it's going to be a big one this year with new games and release dates. And I think that you can't ask for anything better. Let's talk about it, because obviously, Umbra, you're here. The showcase is June 9th. It's confirmed. It's also confirmed that it's going to be a big one. Gear 6 is going to be there, along with something else from the coalition. It is time to get excited about Xbox again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, some of us, we haven't come down from being excited, right? It's just
I'm one of them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just a matter of seeing what they got to give us. But the way he worded that tweet, though, I'm not quite sure if he's speaking from coalition giving us more, or if he's just saying Microsoft has much more in store for us for than Gear 6. It's hard to really say one way or another. Either way, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what Gear 6 looks like. I already know it's going to be Unreal Engine 5. So, hey, I'm the Unreal ambassador, so I got to be excited for that. Good morning, by the way, Harkeep. Yeah, man, I'm really excited for that. Also, too, that whole little side poster next to it with COD. So that's obviously is going to be a Call of Duty little spin-off thing at the end of it too. I'm wondering how that's going to play off. That's for Gulf War, right? It's the next one.
Yes, yeah, that's the rumor. Yep.
Yeah, so I want to see how that's going to look. I know they're using are they still using that modified id Tech engine for that?
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, unless they announce something different, I don't see them never changing it right now.
Exactly. So I expect to see something special with that. And they hit the talk about with Call of Duty how it might go from yearly to a bi-yearly release. I want to see how that's going to play out and what they might offer with that, because I feel like if you're going to have this special after the show thing for Call of Duty, you're probably going to have to show something more than just, hey, look, here's the next Call of Duty, right? Otherwise, you would just show it during the show. I don't really get the distinction of having a separation between the two. But as far as the show itself, I expect big things. I haven't heard anything else as far as what we might get. One thing that would surprise me, or at least I would welcome, would be some type of fast tracking of any what's the word, Fallout experience.
Yeah, well, actually, we have some information on that. We're going to cover that because Todd Howard sat down with Greg Miller of Kinda Funny, and we have that's going to be one of those conversations that there is no wrong answer. There is so much there that it could be a 3-hour podcast by itself, but we're going to somehow work it into this 2-hour show. But we're going to cover that next.
By the way, am I the only one when he first saw the little Xbox / Call of Duty thing? I'm not the only one that thought that one on the right side was possibly the Division 3 or something, am I?
Nah, I didn't think that. Nah,
you didn't think it? It kind of made me think it a little bit at first.
I immediately thought of Black Ops, but that's also because I played a lot of Call of Duty. So I guess that could be part of that. That's
fair, because I haven't played enough of them to say that's probably why. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, wait, the Division? I'm like, no, they don't make. Why would they show that during that?
Nah.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, as far as what I've seen, what I'm excited about, what I'm thinking on, rather, I'm really excited because we know that certain things they probably now have to show us, right? At this point, we have to see something about. Exactly, we have to see something about the games they've shown us 4 years ago now. So those things I'm really excited for. We're probably going to see Contraband live action now. We're probably going to see State of Decay 3. We're probably going to see or hear something, at least with Everwild. I'm hoping we'll hear some new update about that. So it's a lot that they have. Obviously, we might see more of Fable. I'm hoping to see more gameplay of that. Or at least what we can truly say, yes, this is gameplay.
5 minutes of gameplay, something like that.
I would love it. I guess it's kind of early. Indiana Jones, like Valentine says, it's a lot to really unpack. I mean, I don't know what all we can expect, but I am really excited. But I never really doubted. Like for me, I always knew that they were going to bring the heat when it comes to this. Xbox has been on a roll when it comes to these past, honestly, 3 or 4 years when it comes to these showcases, in my opinion. So I expect them to really go, pause when I say this, hard for this too.
Oh, snap. No Diddy.
That's how I like it.
No Diddy. Yeah.
Well, listen, look, it's the cat's out of the bag, right? We knew that Ubisoft was going to be there. They're going on Monday. As they normally do. They usually after for the last couple of years after the Xbox show. I would expect that there is going to be something Splinter Cell finally at the Xbox show. I really do. Like they usually will give us the some sort of a trail, and they'll go a deep dive in Ubisoft because they're partners. They do work together.
Yeah, and that's an OG game for the Xbox too, right? So
it is OG.
Ideal.
It wasn't exclusive at some point.
Nope.
Listen, Harky Chani, welcome, brother. How's everything? Listen, big news. You're going to be in LA. I'm going to be in LA. Cognito and King David are going to be in LA. We have Keasante joining the fray. It is going to be a party. We can't wait. And listen, Xbox is going to deliver in a big way. And look, what could we say? Are your excitement levels through the roof?
Well, look, I don't know if you watched Go Live, right? It was this back and forth of excitement levels and happiness levels, and Gaz is always on the downside, and I'm like, dude, the difference is I'm always smiling. I'm never unhappy. I have games galore. I don't care if it's like this is a little lower and that's a little higher. Are they making games for me? Do I have a console to play on? Can I play on my PC? I'm happy. I'm not. So I've always been happy. I think this is great. What I'm really happy with is they're treating COD the way they need to treat it, which is this is our big new $70 billion acquisition, and we're going to give it the marquee treatment it needs to have. That's fantastic. That's exactly what I was hoping they'd do.
Yep.
Right? It's like
take advantage of it.
Exactly. Not only just take advantage of it, showcase it to the world. This is ours now. And I hope they have bundles for hardware with that and Indie. I think Indie's the other big game we're discounting. That's a huge property that maybe we don't think is relevant, but maybe it is, right? It's a big Disney property for them at least. So, this is going to be co-marketed. I hope they push that as well, right? So those are the two big games this fall. And, at least I think they're going to be the two big games this fall. So if they have that, they have a double, whammy as it is, and they have two hardware bundles they can put out there. Fantastic. Their competition has what? Jack Diddley, right? Both of them have nothing, right? So take advantage. This is a great opportunity for them to at least try to push their hardware up, right? Because Call of Duty will shift, right? It'll shift people. So if this is the first current gen only game, we don't know if it is or isn't, but if it is the first current gen only game, it's going to push people to buy some hardware. And this is the time to take advantage, push the hell out of it, and make people realize Call of Duty, Overwatch, Halo, Gears, you got all the shooters, you got Doom, you got Quake. Bring it. We own all of them here. Come over to Xbox if you want to play shooters, right? Oh, you don't think that's good? We got RPGs galore for you as well. If you just go on down the list, right? Fable,
we got everything. We got everything.
Diablo and Shattered Space and on and on and on. Avowed, right? They've got those too. Oh, you want RTSs? We got those too. You want whatever you want, we got it, right? So here you go, boom, right? Just exactly. And on our platform, whether it's you want cloud, no problem, we got it there. You want it, you want it on NVIDIA cloud, no problem, we got it there.
Browser
on Steam. No problem. We got it there. We got it on our console if you want to play on our console, right? So they will cover all the bases. It'll be fantastic. So, but that's the thing. It's all going to be associated with Xbox, not associated with PlayStation, right? So they're on the downward side. And Xbox,
they're down there and we're up here.
Exactly.
Look, let's be fair. Like, I think what Hargeet is putting down is, honestly, some people are going to be like, oh, you're just stoking the console war fire. I don't think he is. I think he's being very honest. Because let's just look at the playing field, right? The Switch 2 got delayed until next year, right? That is a fact. That is coming out next year. It's probably going to launch in March, as the like the Switch did in 2017. Fine.
Yep.
Right. Sony, even though they had a bunch of money-hatted exclusives, nothing really jumped off the page. Now, again, I give Helldivers its credit because it is a really good game. But that's being supported mostly by PC. The numbers don't lie, right? That's a fact.
And it's fallen off, as I hear, right? It's fallen off like 80%.
It's fallen off a bit, but it had its time. It did numbers. I think the last time I checked on Steam, it was number 5. You know what was number 3 though? That would be Fallout 4, the near 10-year-old game. That's right. That's number 3 behind Dota 2, which was at number 2. And Counter-Strike 2, which was at ridiculous numbers because while they just
always there.
That's always going to be there. So for Fallout to be 3 goes to show you the power of the show. But keeping it why PlayStation, why things seem to be just kind of, I guess, being perfect timing for Xbox, right? Sure, they didn't have the greatest start of the year. They got a lot of people upset. A lot of longtime fans took off, and maybe they don't come back, right? And I get it. People did not like the way things were being done, and they spoke, and they did more than just speak about it. They kind of left the brand. The business update comes out, and it does clear up some stuff, but doesn't clear up a lot of stuff, right? But now you look at the field, folks. This isn't a console war rhetoric conversation we're having. Let's just be factual here. Sony doesn't have shit coming but the PlayStation 5 Pro with no launch titles. You can say Concord might be there, but they told you in the business meeting they don't have any stuff coming first party until until the March of 2025. They don't have anything. Go buy your PS5 Pro and enjoy it. I'm sure they're going to charge you $15 for pro versions of every game before it, because that's just what they do. Sony is going to Sony. Microsoft and Xbox seem to have the playing field locked up this fall. Not only do they have this ridiculously large show coming out, not only is Indiana Jones coming out, and Avowed, and Hellblade in May, and a bunch of other stuff, but they could be dropping some extra stuff that they said they did not announce that was releasing this year. What could that be? That could be South of Midnight. That could be
Avowed.
Yeah,
Avowed is rumored to be coming out now later this year.
Yeah, Avowed as well. But that also could be the one by In Exile, the time traveling game that's like BioShock. That could be releasing.
Clockwork Revolution.
Revolution. Thank you. We could be getting the Gears of War collection. Could be that second game in tow. If they have all of that and a new Call of Duty and potentially a handheld that they're going to show off, I could actually see Sarah Bond walking out on stage holding it. This is our new handheld. It's coming out next year.
That'd be fire.
It is going to break the internet.
I wish it were live too, but it isn't. Unfortunately, it's a pre-recorded show.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch it live together at FanFest, but I wish it were like a live stage, and you get to see everything live with you. But either way, but what if that other game is Forza? So then they've covered everything.
Horizon.
You're talking about the three pillars. You're talking about potentially Gears being
you got
there.
Gears, Halo, and Forza.
I didn't start the rumor, but Certain Affinity has been working on a Halo game for years, and it got so big, Steel Rain, that they moved it over to now something else. It is. I put it to this way, folks. If you were not excited, and maybe we sound overly excited, I don't know what to tell you. My glass is always half full. It's a good time to be an Xbox fan. We are eating good, and it's going to be even more crazy come June.
I would just say this, that if, like, going to Hargeet's point, if this pre-recorded in the leaks that Microsoft notoriously has, we might be hearing some news sooner than later as far as what we'll be getting, by the way. And I just had this weird epiphany that hit me, and I didn't think of it. Maybe because I had this thought. Epiphany. Man, you see them using the big words now, Steel.
I don't mind me. I'm just the ad lib. Just you do your thing.
I love it. I love it.
We're doing our Migos thing right now. So I had this epiphany, and I just thought about it. I said, wait a minute. Okay, so what can they really do with this Call of Duty portion, right? And I'm like, well, they're just going to show us one game. It's like, But then Hargeet was going off, and he was pointing out, like, the marketing for this and bringing it, day and date into the service. We still haven't had any Call of Duty games hit the service. And I think that's what's had me feeling kind of skeptical on what we would actually get from them. Maybe this split thing is not only them showing us the Gulf War, but saying, hey, all of these Call of Duty games are now dropping into Game Pass right now.
You know what?
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because that went right over the Mohawk, which, by the way, isn't fixed because I just finished working out, so it's a mess. But that is something that is... I honestly, as a host, I should be fired. I should fire myself, because just imagine that there is going to be a part. There is going to be a portion of this pre-recorded show that's going to say it's going to be a flash screen. It's going to be a few minutes. Maybe it's a minute. Maybe it's a minute and a half. Maybe it's 2 minutes. But it's going to say all of these games available today, and you're going to get, folks, the entire catalog of Call of Duty in Game Pass. Think about that just for a second. If you are finding the console in December underneath your tree, underneath your whatever, and you're going to open it up, and not only are you going to have the new Call of Duty available, you're going to have access and availability to everything in the freaking catalog. That is going to move people. I am telling you.
So, Boom, I would put it differently. I think what they're going to do, at least they should do it this way, is have like the rest of year of Call of Duty. Because if you throw everything at the same time, it just gets lost in the shuffle. Instead, you say July is Call of Duty 2. We're bringing back Call of Duty 2. August is Call of Duty 3, et cetera, right? Just or pick the ones they want to and give it a month of just, you get to play this. We're bringing the servers back. Go enjoy the old ones, because they can do all the 360 ones that everybody loved. They actually have BC for that, right? Backwards compatibility for that. The other side doesn't. So they can actually do that. They're not breaking any rules or anything because the other side just can't do it, right? So parity is still there. They're just bringing back what they actually can. They can start putting those things out, but give them like a couple of weeks, a month, right? So people get a chance to actually experience it, right? And so you just have like the rolling year of Call of Duty, right? That the rest of the year, if you're a Call of Duty fan, that's what you're gonna see, right? You get this marketing campaign of we're bringing back the old Call of Duties, just like a World of Warcraft. They said, hey, we're gonna have a second one where you can just start all over, right? We're gonna start the whole thing from the beginning again, and we're gonna keep bumping it up every. We have the new stuff and we have the old stuff starting again. They can just do that with Call of Duty. That would be fantastic. Bring it back one game at a time and start bringing it in, right? Over the next year, you get all these games coming into Game Pass, but each one gets its time to actually shine and get people excited and play that, right? That would be awesome. So hopefully they do it that way. I should
hire you rather than me because I like your marketing idea way better than mine. Shout out to Xboxer Mike in the chat. He says, let Boom cook, goddammit. He had me dying before because he said, Boom, give us some outrageous picks so he could laugh. Trust me, they're working. We'll do obviously a pre-show like launch kind of a thing. And I'll say some ridiculous stuff to make you laugh. I have some ideas that are never going to come true, but I have ideas nonetheless. Look, let me catch up on Super Chats. I want to talk about all this Bethesda news. I mean, yesterday was just one haymaker after another. Todd Howard not retiring anytime soon. Yay. Right? Like, okay, now we're good because I'm sure he's been hearing me talk. I'm like, hey, we got him for Indiana Jones, we got him for Elder Scrolls 6, probably not further than that. Because you know what? You want to retire. Yeah. I've been retired for almost a decade. And it's the greatest thing that I've ever done because I worked super hard all those years to get my time in and I retired. So he's been working in the industry for over 30 years. I would imagine he wants to retire or maybe not. But
he's got a few M's to retire too. So I can imagine he
has a lot better money than I do. Sure, absolutely. I had planned as good police officers do. You plan for your pension. You kind of do what you got to do to make sure that it is a respectable pension, which mine is. It's not gonna buy the house for us without doing some cutting some corners, but we'll get there eventually. He has M's. And he's talking about millions. So, yes, obviously, he's a rich man.
All right, Boom. I see you. Look, being a former cop, I didn't know you was going to pick up on that slang lingo with the M.
Oh, trust me. I know exactly
what you're talking about. But I was going to say, the thing is, that part right there, I think, was the best part for me. Because I most of us thought, this is it for him, right? Like, you're not going to make it past 6, Elder Scrolls 6 at the very least. But see, if he's like, no, in a while, I'm going to stay for, stick around, then you should probably feel good about that because that means he'll probably be there for Fallout 5 and so on and so forth for all we know.
Absolutely. So let me catch up on the super chats. Been quite a few of them, and then we will get to, of course, the big topic. This is one of those topics that there are no wrong answers. There's a lot to get into. Sith Lord drops a $2 super chat, and he actually has a code that I'm going to drop into the chat for Fallout 76. It is a worldwide code, so if you win it, I'm not doing a raffle. I'm going to drop it in there. If you're quick on the draw, you can get Fallout 76 thanks to Sith Lord, who not only is donating the game, but he also dropped a $2 super chat and says only 40 days to speculate and to leak the showcase. I hope it doesn't leak. I hope that they really keep it close to the vest. Something is going to leak. I don't like those kind of leaks because I really want to be surprised, but I'm not going to lie. It's good talking points when something does leak. So there you go. Hargeet China, who's been a channel member for 20 months. Hargeet, thank you, kind sir. He says, great news that the Xbox is treating Call of Duty the way that they should. It should be a marquee game. Indie is another big game. He actually said that before. I can see hardware bundles for both. Yeah, I do as well. I think Indiana Jones is going to appeal to an older crowd, like the crowd that's here now. We have almost 700 live viewers. I'm sure that there are a lot of people above 30, a lot of people above 40, an old prick like myself above 50 who appreciate Indiana Jones. And I think that based on what we saw, that's one of my most anticipated games of the year because it looks just stellar.
Yeah, hopefully this like new controller too. If that new controller comes out and they have controllers with Indy and Avowed and Call of Duty, oh my god, you know how many are going to sell, right?
Well, I'm buying every one of them, so there you go. They're gonna. I'm a controller whore master, and I'm not. I know I have a problem, and I admit it. Whole grain bread, generous friend of the program, says this after dropping a $5 super chat. Nothing from Tom Warren gets me excited after a few months ago. I would never use him as a source for anything. And you see, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm not going to fight you on it. I mean, I still consider Tom one of the journalists that I personally go to. He did get himself in some murky water with some of the reporting. A lot of the bigs, the Tom Hendersons, the Tom Warrens, there was a lot of sloppiness when the whole leaks of games going here, there, and everywhere. I'm right with you. I didn't like it. It was sloppy. And it was the biggest problem, I will say, whole grain bread, with current journalistic or current journalism is fastest, and whoever gets it to the quickest is the one, right? Now, I'm not saying they don't do their due diligence to get their sources in order, but it's the fastest to get it out there. And sometimes that doesn't translate well. And during that whole thing with everyone trying to be the first and the fastest, it was sloppy. It was very sloppy, and I did not like it. So I'm right there with you. Quan the Terrible it says, please, he drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for the generosity, Quan. He says, please send Hargeet a link, boom. And of course I did. Stitch 6669, welcome back to the program, brother. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Mr. Boomstick, did you see the report Square Enix expected to recognize a 22.1 billion loss in content abandoned losses, which equates to, if you're not familiar with it, I read the story, so thank you, Stitch. It equates to $140 million bath that they took teaming up with Sony. That is probably never happening again, and that is why the former president is nowhere to be found, because those Sony deals really impacted the company, like bad.
For both companies, for PlayStation and for Square.
Both, yeah. It wound up hurting for both. And we have Rain G4 drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, if Microsoft does a memoriam segment at the showcase of the former Xbox guys that left, that would be golden. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I hope not. I'd like to see everyone that was disenchanted with the brand come back. And of course, there's Jim Ryan laughing. Jim, welcome. He's laughing at PlayStation and Square, and he's counting his money. He's burning he's lighting his cigars.
Counting the money.
Eben Wakanov drops a very generous £1 super
You don't get the joke there? Ivan.
Okay. There you go. He wanted me to say it for $1. Now, I was trying to be polite. I was trying to. I store it, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna read the way, and I'm gonna mess it up. But I've been whacking off. There you go. Well, there you. I said.
Whoa.
There you go.
You've been whacking off.
What?
Okay.
All right.
It's a family show. Damn it! What are we doing? So listen.
That's what I'm curious about.
I don't understand what's happening. It's gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen. So let me just get into the DMs here. I had sent it over to you, Steel Rain, so I'm going to pull up yours first. Now, this one comes the way of Hazardor Gaming, who, again, if you're not following him, you probably should. He is, when I say tip of the spear, when it comes to people you should follow, especially on X, he puts out an unbelievable amount of information. He's right up there with Idle Sloth. He's right up there with a bunch of the big ones that I personally go to for news. Well, this is a big deal. It is a plethora of Bethesda news. Steel Rain, I'm going to go to you first. And all points, bulletin, so to speak, for this interview with Greg Miller on the Kinda Funny Games cast. Now, Greg, obviously, a lot of people love Greg. I love Greg Miller. I like Kinda Funny. I've been supporting them for years. They have great content. They have a great bunch of individuals that work there. I'm a big fan, right? So whenever Greg sits down with someone as pointed and important to the industry as Todd Howard, you got to stop. You got to listen. You got to watch.
Mhm.
So this is what came out of this interview. Shattered Space, the first DLC, has been confirmed for fall of 2024. That is the first expansion for Starfield. That's a big deal. No plans to retire anytime soon. That is also a really big deal. If you are a fan of Todd Howard, I am. It goes on to say in this tweet, city maps and shipbuilding soon will be coming, I guess, to I'm assuming that he meant Starfield. I mean, I know we could already build ship, but the city maps is something that you definitely need in a big way. There's going to be new display modes coming for consoles. There's a report and a direct quote from Todd Howard that there is a huge, monstrous update coming to Starfield. I'm super stoked for that. And this is another one. This is big because I'm sure that they're hearing the pressure from the fans about Fallout 5. I said it yesterday. I don't want to be 61 playing Fallout 5. I just don't. I think that's ridiculous to have to wait that far when we're only in 2024, right? So he goes on to say that Bethesda is not ruling out partnering with external developers on future games to kind of speed up the process, specifically when it comes to Fallout 4. Now, you can use In Exile, you can use Obsidian. There are a bunch of teams that you can use to kind of help the heavy lifting of this. Whatever you want to attack, please, by all means, go crazy.
Yeah, I think them teaming up, I think Bethesda really coming together overall is more than kind of how they used to feel like they were competing against each other, in the same way like Call of Duty used to feel like they were competing against each other, although they were under the same company, right? Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, they all kind of made their different versions of the same kind of game. And I think that similar kind of thing is going to happen here, but I think it was going to be more welcoming and more warming under the Xbox side of things because of the direction that gaming has kind of gone. Now you can't spend time, I would say now you can't wait as long to possibly put some ideas on the table for and get some direction going. So there is that side of it. As far as the interview overall, hearing that Todd is not planning on retiring anytime soon, that at least lets me know, especially the way that he talks about it, lets me know that the fire is still there for him. And apparently, especially in the role that he is now, because I imagine he's more on a top role level, right? So he can kind of step back when he needs to and involve himself as much as he needs to. And as long as that's still fresh for him, as long as he's still motivated, that's the thing that I always is always exciting for me because that passion is still there, right? So, and after Starfield, I'm extremely excited to see what the next potential of whatever the games may be. Hopefully, it's going to be more of a connected story in totality. But that's the main thing for me. The other thing about this DLC, I kind of hinted at it earlier. It's unfortunate for me personally because I may or may not end up jumping back into this. Single player games, they release these expansions over time, and I get that some of these games do live on for people. It does not work that way for me. This is a perfect example of another single player game that ends up being complete later on. I am interested to see how this DLC is going to fit within the game. As of right now, if you ask me, I think the weakest part of Starfield is the story. So what is this going to do? Is this going to enhance the story? Is this going to connect some things, especially with having all the faction quests? Like, you have all these faction quests that are so unique in the game and stand out and kind of are literally their own forms of the story, but nothing connects it, which makes it feel extremely disconjointed for me personally. Again, that's part of the reason I marked it down. It was kind of up and down, AI, same thing kind of thing. But the updates and everything, I would hope that they would do these types of things. I mean, again, when you're talking about the city maps and maybe some additions to shipbuilding or whatnot, these are things, the city map is things that people were kind of asking for up front. Although it wasn't a big deal for me. I mean, again, you go back to some of their other games, you had to literally pull up a menu system to scroll over a few times to get to a map. although it was very versatile. Then something like that necessarily wasn't here. A bit convoluted, so see them making those adjustments this late is kind of unfortunate as well. There's already mods out there. The thing for me, and again, it's kind of sounded a little negative, but I want to be on both sides of it because it's overall how I feel about kind of being an outsider to Bethesda. For me, I want to see Bethesda get the modders more involved because obviously they have these grandiose ideas and are able to implement things way sooner than Bethesda can ever. And I understand that there's a lot of red tape that you got to kind of cross when it comes to these things. But if there's already this talent that's here, I would have liked to see them say, "Hey, we're going to be throwing A, B, C mods in here. We've seen these from the community. We went to the Nexus mod page and we saw the most popular the top 3 mods of the Nexus mod page. As long as there's not any nudity or anything crazy like that in there, we're going to drop in this first DLC as well, just to kind of give back to our community and get people involved." Those are the types of things that I was hoping for. Telling me new display modes and all this other stuff, like these are things that should just be there regardless. I would have liked to have Greg get in there a little bit deeper to get some details about what we could possibly see from the Shattered Space DLC. But again, that's just personal things that I am looking for. But again, that's also somebody that's probably not going to end up jumping back into it. But also seeing or them discussing about Bethesda possibly partnering with different people, they need to. It's blatantly obvious. Their games have such a unique style to them as far as like how you interact with the different characters in the game, the AI, how the story can envelop on itself, the different path that you can trend, the fact that everything stays exactly how you leave it. There's no other game that does this. Like quite literally, that's what makes it engaging and makes it unique. And that's what continues to bring me back, for an example, like Fallout 4. And I don't think that they need to rush to make a Fallout 5 because let the show live. Let people constantly, you just updated 4, let people live with that game for a bit. So it's old. People are jumping back into 76. That was a game that fell on its face up front and is now getting more engagement than ever before. Let's let that live. And maybe this next time you release the second season a week at a time so people have time to have more conversation around this show. So by the time that Fallout 5 comes out, there's so much hype because of the sheer and fourth season of the show, and there's all these other things. You had these games come out, now Obsidian, now you get the dream team of Obsidian and the core Bethesda team getting together to create, maybe it's not New Vegas per se, but whatever a New Vegas 2 would look like, maybe that's Fallout 5. Because again, to be fair, at least Obsidian was able to connect the stories together, which I'm noticing is a common theme with Bethesda games going from Skyrim to Fallout to now Starfield, is that why is it all disconjointed past the faction quest and stuff? It just makes no sense to me, right? So those are the kind of things that I'm looking for. Those are the things that excite me about the potential of this. So yeah, man, it's awesome to see Todd Howard still wanting to hit people over the side of the head, and we'll see what he continues to bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, it's a plethora of news. It is one interview that had 5 different talking points. Me personally, I cannot wait to return to Starfield. And I know that I'm going to be playing Fallout 4 for the foreseeable future. I'm happy that I'm back in the wasteland. I'm happy I restarted it. Like I said, when I played it 9 years ago, I think I might have put like 20 or 30, maybe even 40 hours into it. I had no idea what I was doing. But obviously, like everyone else, FOMOS was in, took over, and now I'm back playing it. And with the update, it looks phenomenal. I know a lot of people had trouble with the update. I haven't had any of it at all. It's been running and looking great. As you can tell by this, when I was playing it, that was footage I recorded this morning, so it looked really good. Listen, Crazy Lou, before I come to you, brother, I don't know how long Hargeet has here.
Go for it.
So Hargeet,
I'm good. I'm good till 2, so I have another 40-ish minutes.
Okay, all right. So you know what? Let me just go in order then. Crazy Lou Gaming. Let me break this down. Okay, obviously, Hasbro Gaming put out this tweet. It really does easily and simplifies the interview with Todd Howard, which was phenomenal. Shattered Space DLC confirmed. City maps coming to Starfield, which I think is a definite must. Todd Howard, well, he's not retiring anytime soon, which is great for anyone that is a fan of Todd Howard. New display modes coming for consoles. Now, I don't know what the particulars are. It's vague, but I would imagine there's going to be a lot of choices for you as a player, and that's all we want is choice. And followed by Bethesda not ruling out partnering with external developers, and they have a few that have worked on Fallout. Obviously, who in Exile, their developer heads worked on Fallout 1 and 2 when it was a isometric type of game. Obviously, Obsidian has worked on and said that they want to continue to work on that series or the Fallout as a whole. They did New Vegas 2 people are calling for. This is even more greatness coming to the way of Xbox first party. And again, they own Bethesda, just like they own Activision and Blizzard. And this is a big deal. Let's talk about it.
My God, wait, because you mentioned new content, but wait, isn't there like nothing to do in that game? I mean, I remember that everybody talked about like there's nothing to do in that game, that there's nothing in space. That game is just there's nothing. I don't understand why more content for a game that just has nothing. Basically, that's what everybody said. But damn, more content to this game, Mr. BoomStick. I mean, already with all that stuff that the people who actually played it though, because we all played it, right? More stuff to do in that game. That is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, wow. I mean, they're just updating this thing and they're going to bring up more stuff. That is fabulous. I'm happy that they're bringing a lot more to this game because, man, I already beat it. I beat it like the other day. I sat down and said, okay, let me go through this and let me beat this game. I beat this game and I already started a second playthrough. And my God, I was like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? There's still a lot of stuff to discover in this game. And now them adding new content, I know that game is going to go up right away. It's going to be, again, the banger it was when it came out. Because, man, I know people play through it. They're like, okay, we're done with it. But as soon as it releases, I know it's going to go way up there, up in the scales again, man. I mean, seriously, that game has so much stuff to do since we heard from the media that there was nothing. I was still laughing about it. But, man, I'm just happy about that. And the display thing, I'm trying to understand what he means by the display thing. I mean,
resolution probably.
Yeah,
frame rates.
Are we gonna go up to 60 now?
Possibly.
I mean, I would imagine. I mean, that's what everyone's been asking for, a 60 frames mode. And again, I didn't want to say that because I don't want to get anyone. Oh, boom! You said 60 frames, but I would imagine that could
that's what you feel.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I don't know. Go ahead and say it, Mr. BoomStick. Why the heck not? I mean, if that comes out, I mean, it'd be fabulous for us if we get the game in 60 frames. I mean, it'd be good for everybody who wanted the game to be 60. You know. Well, heck not. I mean, I played it in 30 frames, and I had a lot of fun with that. I mean,
30 frames is fine for me.
It runs smooth. It runs beautiful. I don't understand what's everybody fighting about this. And on PC, they had to do a couple things to make it 60. But if it does come to console, I mean, that would be freaking awesome. If we get the 60 frames, fantastic. Either way, though, with the new content coming in, I'm still going to go through another run because it's just so much stuff to do in that game. I mean, seriously, I feel like I haven't done everything. I feel like that, even though I did a bunch of side missions, but I still think I have not done anything. I mean, I got things to discover, planets to run through, see what's going on in the caves, see if we can get another extra mission. I mean, there's so much stuff in that game. Seriously, and more content, that's going to bring up the player base back up again, and it's going to be a banger.
I mean, listen, I enjoyed it. I say only, I'm not being facetious. I have like 5 days and 10 hours, but you talk to most people, they're like, you're a rookie. What do you get at it? Get out of my face. 5 days. You should be ashamed. I mean, that's how long it took. I mean, and again, I didn't rush to beat it. I enjoyed my playthrough, got to where I wanted to get through, beat the game, started a new game plus, but there are a lot of other games I wanted to play, especially at the end of the year. I still didn't finish Hogwarts, which I'm at the end of it right now. It's so much I didn't get a chance to play, but I will be going back to this. And again, Fallout 4, it's just so good. I'm going to be honest with you. If I may make a suggestion to anyone from Bethesda that might be listening, please take away the base building stuff. I freaking absolutely hate that aspect of Fallout 4. I didn't like it.
You don't have to do it.
No, I don't. I think my small town that you start out with is like at 13% happiness because they hate me. I made a couple of beds. I made some drinking water. and that's about all I did. I'm just
People like that stuff though.
Yeah,
So
you can completely ignore it if you want. That's the thing, though. They give you the option, Boom. That's what's so unique about it as well. There's so many different things that you could do. It's the same thing with Starfield. You can literally turn into a distribution. It's turn a planet into a distribution planet if you wanted to, right?
My brother
Now,
did that. Yeah.
I never interacted with that, right? But there's people who will spend 300 hours just doing that before they even beat the game, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? I like the balance that they're kind of striking with there, but I feel you if that's you're not into it.
But to be honest with you, but once you, I mean, I hate it too, but once you get like adjusted to it, it's not that hard. I mean, just put a couple pads.
I mean, I've been tearing down the town. I've been throwing,
exactly,
yeah.
So it's not that hard. Yeah.
But maybe they could just make it so you can like say, "Hey, I'm going to nominate you, one of the people here.
Yeah,
just manage this
that's
for
what I'm
me."
talking about. Let them build. Let them self build.
Yeah, make a build.
Give them a tools and say,
yeah,
"Go
ability to make it easier. That'd be nice.
Yeah, there's some mods and stuff that have done that actually, where you can just set you put like one thing down and a settler will just build it for you, and then boom, you don't have to worry about it.
Shout out to Z Black Rider. He said base building was great, and Prince Screen and Jason Max when he had the New York accent when I say water. I'm sorry, that's just the way it comes out. It's supposed to be WATER. The way I say it is with a D. That's
you
New York.
Got some one in water. It's all good.
What can I tell you? I'm from New York. Listen, Infinite Umbra. If you are still awake, kind sir, because obviously sometimes the Sandman does kind of. He's up. He's off.
Wade in the water. I'm sorry.
So let's talk about this because obviously there is a lot to get into. There were stories that VGC ran. There were stories that other publications ran that were all written very well. I did enjoy the VGC read, but to make it short and pointed. The one that came the way of Hasbro Gaming breaking down everything that came out of this interview. And again, this was a interview packed with information. And again, shout out to Kind of Funny for getting that done. Greg Miller is a great interviewer. He's been doing it for years. And I think he got everything that we could want out of a Todd Howard interview. I know Steele wants a little bit more, especially when it comes to what that Shattered Space DLC is going to be. I would imagine we're going to get more of that this June. We'll get a trailer. We'll get exactly where we start, where we finish with it. But look, no matter where you go, there is a conversation to be had, whether it be Todd Howard not retiring, the Shattered Space DLC confirmed for this fall, which is a big deal. The fact that they are now looking to not outsource, but work with other partners and teams. And I would imagine that would be within Microsoft to get Fallout 5 closer to fruition than, let's say, 2031. These are all great points of news. Where do you want to go with this?
Well, for me, again, the biggest points for me is that he's not retiring anytime soon. Now, that could mean that he's just talking about to the end of Elder Scrolls 6, to be fair, because that's not anytime soon, right? We got a good, I would imagine, because they said they've got a working build.
Decade.
Yeah. So I would think 4 or 5 years possibly before we see that. That's my thinking. I also wondered too, is he open to switching engines? That's another thing I wonder, because his point that he mentioned is that they take time, 5 to 6 years, as he mentioned, or more. And he's pointing out that they're looking at ways to cut the development time. Well, there's a few ways to do that. One is possibly a more workable, or at least agreeable engine is one. Though I'm pretty sure those fellas there and people there that works there now know how to their way around that engine now anyway. So I guess that's kind of moot. But also working with other teams to get a lot of people to help out on the development. Another thing is making the games a little bit smaller. So I'm wondering how that's all going to play out as it relates to these, because none of us I don't think any of us would want a smaller experience when it comes to Elder Scrolls. Now, they could handle it that way, give us the initial game and then give us expansions, as they typically do, to continuously build on Elder Scrolls or Fallout and things of that nature. So that I'm wondering how they might approach that going forward, because maybe they're changing up how they do things. I mean, that could be a way that they're handling it. The Shattered Space DLC, that's interesting. I definitely expect to see that, like you said, during the showcase this June. I just wonder if that is going to play into the any game situation of how, I don't want to say too much to spoil anything, but I just want to see how that's going to play into the any game of Starfield. By the way, which I have to boot up on this 4080 Super to see how that thing looks. By the way, you see, still, I got to see how it looks on this thing. By the way, so I got to boot that up for that. The city maps, they've been talking about that for a while, actually.
Yes.
Yep. Surprised. I'm kind of surprised it's taking this long, but better late than never. If it's taking this long, I'm hoping it's better than the initial, like, oh, you'll see the little, icons or something like they initially showed. It was kind of like, you may as well not have updated the map for me if that's going to be it. So I hope it's actually something really in depth that's better fleshes out the city map thing for people, because people made a complaint about it. I didn't think it was that bad personally, but I'm the type that runs across the entire map of any game if it's open world, and I learn every nook and cranny. So I'm kind of like, I know where to go. But a lot of people like, I don't know which way I'm, they lost out there. So I'm hoping that's they put more detail into that. What I do like too is the shipbuilding, because I actually did like the shipbuilding in Starfield. But one of my complaints was kind of like the nodes, the way you connect them was problematic, where you couldn't really, sometimes you'd be limited in what you could create. Now, there are some geniuses out there, some really creative types that have made some really cool ships. If you put the time into it, you will be rewarded. And that's the same thing for what you guys were talking about with the city building thing and stuff like that, from like Fallouts and stuff. Not my biggest bag either, but anytime you add something like that to a game, it extends that life. It extends the life of that game, because there are a lot of people that do care for that outside of us. Now, I get you though, Boom. Like I kind of err on your side of it, where like I might dabble in that, but it's not going to be my main focus. In Starfield, I did put a good amount into establishing like the networking to get, from this planet to the next and stuff like that. But that was largely to get the achievements and stuff like that. And that's also why I racked up as much time as I did in that game, by the way. So doing things like that actually did increase the lifespan. Also too, like I said, the biggest things for me though is that he's not planning on retiring soon, though. He could have been slick in how he was saying it, well, basically, Elder Scrolls 6 won't be out until 6 years, so that's how no time soon, right? And that, and I'm working with other people. That's my biggest thing. I just want to see how that's going to work out, because we floated the idea of them, Microsoft, possibly putting together a kind of a Bethesda team, a separate Bethesda team for Fallout. They should have, they absolutely should. And I would say, I heard Steele on a point where you were mentioning about Fallout. And I agree to a degree, but I would say this: if it's going to be the case where they don't need to, because I feel like this rush that they're getting, of the surge they're getting from the Fallout love, I don't know how long that's going to last, right? So I feel like they need to capitalize. But then we've already heard that they have a remake for Fallout coming, right? Or at least for
the original,
the original. We've heard about that. Okay. And we've heard about Oblivion remakes and things like that already happening.
3 being a possibility as well, So they could possibly already have that in the pocket. Let's just hope that's the case. I hope it is, at least, because that'd be perfect for me, for all of us, really. And again, the Oblivion thing, I don't even need to speak on that. I told you that's on my Mount Rushmore. So that's one of the goats for sure.
So it's a lot of ways this can go. Super excited for it. Todd looked in good spirits. I think this is post Starfield Todd right here. He looked a little tired during Starfield, but here he looks like he got some good energy. So I'm expecting great things.
He's 54 years old though. I mean, he's still got a couple years, I think.
Yeah. I think he got at least another decade in him. I mean, he can do it till he's 70, especially if he continues to take the more step back role, just input, and as long as he has good people around him, he could definitely be the brains behind it for a while.
Yeah.
Yobi had corrected. He was saying that it was not a remake, but a remaster, even or remasters. It's excuse me, not a remake. It was listed as a remaster.
It was a remaster rather than a remake. Yeah.
Even more
For which
reason
one?
why. I guess is that for Fallout 3, Yobi? I'm guessing that's the case. If so, that's even more reason why we can expect to have it sooner than later, right? So, yeah, excited again to see how they play it out. I want them to capitalize on that, on the surge that Fallout is getting right now. To me, it'd be foolish not to.
I think they should remake New Vegas instead because it has more of a connection to the actual show, right?
That's funny. Yeah. If you again, no spoilers, folks, but yeah, there is a massive connection to
apparently
New Vegas. And listen, right now, Fallout is hot, Hargeet, and it's hot in a way where yes, it's on sale. But over the weekend, we saw that report that in the UK, folks, physical copies of Fallout 4 sold out. You can't find it. People are buying this, and again, I picked up the Game of the Year edition. I think it was $11, whatever it was.
Yeah, I picked it up. It was like $6 at one point.
It was so cheap. It was like it was almost like you have to be a knucklehead not to get that, right? So yeah, they sold a bunch of other copies of a game that's going to be 10 years old. But getting back to the information that came the way of this interview with Greg Miller and of course Todd Howard. There's a lot to get into. There is a lot you can take away from this. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see any negative aspects to it because, again, this is based on what Bethesda is doing. This is based on what Todd Howard is going to do. And like I said, if you start to pile up the W's that Microsoft is going to be winning this year with their games, potentially new hardware, we obviously have new Black Ops. We're going to have marketing deals with Call of Duty for the first time since the Xbox 360 days. It is going to be all green. Where do you want to start with this, Hargeet?
Yeah, I mean, so look, as far as his career, he is hitting 54, and at some point he is going to retire. I don't know how long that is, and one of the headaches we've always run into nowadays, games take forever to come out. So how many games does he have left? If they can parallelize the production, right? It is possible that they could stagger these things, much like what they do with Call of Duty, right? And say, or Assassin's Creed, and have different teams working on different games. But I don't know if that's what they want to do. I think the teams wanted to work on this and then the next and then the next, and those games would give them the ability to shift focus to something different, so they wouldn't get just stuck on Elder Scrolls or Starfield or whatever, right? So I think that he's trying to keep that, right? But there is just a reality to this for all of them. It's not just Todd, by the way. There's a lot of writers, there's a lot of production people that have worked on these things for decades, right? That are also part of this whole train of continuing to create these games. We just see the front-facing people. We don't see all the people in the background, the hundreds, if not thousands of people that are working on these things, right? So it is an interesting question of what happens as that, continues. Will the studio be able to just, pump these out faster? I don't know. Like, you get all the pushback from 30 frames versus 60 frames was such a big deal. If they'd spent extra time on it, would it have been better or worse? I don't know. Right. So is that a question they have to now answer? Are they going to have to fix that for the next one? To the point of Umbra, are they going to stick to Creation Engine? Probably, because they have a lot of stuff baked into it that allows them to do mods and all that stuff. They'd have to restart if they did that with a different engine. And how much headache would they run into? And one of the things that we find very problematic with, say, using UE is that it tanks performance, right? We've seen that over and over where performance has become an issue. They could go to COD Engine, or they could go to idTech, and that definitely does well on performance. It is a bit more utilized, and they have a lot of people using the COD Engine, right? They just got 15,000 people from ABK. A good chunk of them know the COD Engine pretty well, right? So that is a possibility, but I don't know. That'd be a huge undertaking to switch that. So I don't know how it's going to get better. So maybe they're finding ways to streamline production between various parts and say, okay, maybe it only takes 3 to 4 years to make one of these. We'll see. but it took a long time from Fallout 4 to get to Starfield. So I'm not going to hold my breath that we're going to get these things faster. I know I'm usually the glass full guy, but I'm just looking at reality saying I don't know that they'll really pull off getting these things out faster. It's always nice to wish for it though, right? It's always nice to put the goal out there to say, hey, we want to get Elder Scrolls 6 in a couple of years, and then maybe 2-3 years out from there, we do get Fallout 5. Cool. Putting out games from other teams. I mean, both inXile and Obsidian have expressed interest in doing Fallout games. Okay, what's the problem of just letting them do offshoots? I like at this point, Todd's got to recognize that you can't just hold the IP. First of all, it's not your IP, it's Phil's. So to create that strife and just say, well, Phil, no, I don't want you to give it to somebody else to make not Fallout 5, but just some offshoot like New Vegas, right? Just create something totally different as an offshoot game. And it's like the people who originally invented this stuff are saying, hey, can we just use the stuff that we invented and create games like that? Shouldn't really be that big of a deal. I would think it's an internal IP, much like Perfect Dark. It's not Rare making that game. It's, it's the initiative making that game. Is that a problem? I don't think it is. I think, you just say, hey, we own the IP. Phil can say, go ahead. This is not Fallout 5. Todd wants to do Fallout 5. Fair enough. But we'll take a New Vegas equivalent and give it to you, right? Fine. In Exile, you created this stuff, so go for it. Go create whatever you want as an offshoot, right? Not the main line, but make an offshoot game, sure. Or even just remake the first two that you made, right? Go for it. Remake 1 and 2 in a more modern setting, that kind of thing, right? So I think those are very, very viable options. They could also just go outside, right? But it seems kind of viable to me to say, hey, we got 2 internal studios that want to do this, the ones that created this bloody thing. Why not just let them do it? It makes sense, right? It's a co-created or maybe expanded Fallout universe, right? They bought this from them. So why not? Why not just let them go back and make some of these things? I think that's cool. I do hope they can pull it off. Maybe make a 3-year delta between Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, because that would be the launch lineup and then the lineup of the next generation. And to have an Elder Scrolls and a Fallout for that generation, yikes! The number of games that Xbox is going to be putting out, just it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I think that it speaks that the next console we get is going to be a pretty crazy stacked lineup of games.
Yep. I mean, what's interesting.
I was going to ask a quick question though, Hargreave. I mean, we've seen that they're heavily investing in AI. Could AI even help out more for them to deliver games faster? Yeah, they're really heavily investing in AI for that. And not only Xbox, I mean, on Sony's side too, they're heavily investing in AI too.
Yeah.
Look,
it's sort of at the infancy layer of how well it'll help in game dev.
Yeah.
It could, right? But it could also create issues, right? So, AI is helpful when it does the right things, but it's kind of general right now. You'd have to create stuff specifically for game dev. And I'm sure they're working that. I'm sure Microsoft would love to have that to be able to just sell it to other, developers out there, right?
Yep.
So their studios can certainly work through that. And if it helps them, great. It could lead to issues and they have to fix those issues, and it would have been faster to just do it themselves manually, right? Yeah. So I don't know. If this was 10, 15 years into AI being able to make games, sure, because at that point it'd be a mature technology that could most likely just work. I'm more concerned with it needs to learn, right? AI needs to learn how well to actually create games, because it's not just a simple thing of hey, create me this little level with this blah, 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 and it just works right. No, the reason these games are good is because people put a lot of effort into making it good, right? So you can't necessarily replace that immediately. It will take work for that to be developed, right? And there's always going to be a human element to these things.
Yeah.
That AI will just kind of not be there. It's good, but it's not there are emotional ties that we have if I say certain things, if I do certain things, right? That you really kind of need that human element to kind of give you that. Yes. So unfortunately, I don't think it's an easy thing to do for a game like this, because this is an open world with lots of content. And the reason it's like that is because you walk in a certain direction and suddenly you meet somebody and you create a whole new, storyline thing that, somebody had to go spend time on. Right. And so yes and no, it is possible. Like it can help in like create me some dialogue trees and then I'll fix it. Right. I'll make it better. Right. That's cool. It may also put you in directions that you weren't expecting, and now you're fixing something that really wasn't your thought process, right? So it may be good, it may be bad. It's too new for me to say yes, it'll fix it. It could help in image generation, but ultimately I think they're going to say no. I want to draw it the way I want it, right? Because I want to make it the way I like it, and we have our own tone, and my head knows what I want, and I'm going to just draw it, right? So could it help in sort of concepting stuff? Sure. But concepting stuff isn't exactly the longest tentpole of this thing. It's usually the production part of it that's the long tentpole, and so it's hard for me to say yes, it will or won't. I'm sure it'll help a little bit. It'll also, because it's in infancy, actually increase the time. So it's a hit or miss idea, right? So I wouldn't want to have Todd take that. I would take a new studio that says, "Hey, we want to try new things." Sure, like try to add this in. If you're a 20-person, 30-person, 40-person studio, this could augment things for you, and maybe it works for you. This is a well-oiled machine that knows what they're doing, right? I would rather they just do their thing, because we already know their output. We already know their capability, So
that's pretty dope in itself, though, because if you all remember, that's a great question that you brought up, Louis, because we see the AI thing, and all of us are kind of like, how they're going to use that, right? And Hargeet, you explained it very well, but imagine, because you remember the jump, if you all remember the jump we had from AI generated stuff, I think a year or two ago to now, and it's like insane the level of things you can do just using AI. So I wonder just how fast it's going to assimilate when it comes to that, when they put it into gaming.
It's even writing scripts for movies, man. It's crazy. I mean, AI is even writing scripts for movies, and they're grabbing it and reading it, and then they fix what they got to fix, and then send the movie out. But that's why I asked the question, because I read somewhere, I gotta look for it, and I read somewhere AI is gonna help them. Like, for example, they're done with the game, it's all done, and they're gonna send it like load it up and let AI like run through the testing, and it's gonna tell them, okay, it has issues here, it has an issue there, fix this, fix that. AI is gonna tell them pretty much what do they have to fix. That's something I've read somewhere. I gotta look for it. But
that was Matt Booty. Matt Booty wanted to have AI help them with that piece, because it's grunt work. It's not it. Yes, it can be fun the first 2 or 3 times you play through a game, but for the 400th time you have to play through the game, it becomes very monotonous and annoying, right? But you have to do it, right? Because every time there's a change, you have to go in and validate, did that break anything else? And that's the stuff they're like, this is perfect grunt work for a computer to do. If AI can go do that for us, right, it can come back the next morning and say, well, your change made these 20 things break. Here are the things I recommend you go fix.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a process that definitely could help. And that's sort of at the later stage of the game, right? But that's usually at that point, Todd's out of it, right? Because he's not changing any of the story elements. It's just stupid production issues, as far as a glitch here caused that thing to break over there. Okay, go fix that, right? So that's cool, and that's really just dev, work that needs to happen to just clean things, clean up the code. Yeah, absolutely, that could help shorten the time of production done. Like we heard, like Starfield was done years ago, right? And then it was all the cleanup work, right? It was just making sure the game was ready to come out, but that took years, right? That part could shrink if AI can help fix that piece. Again, if we're there, which we may not be, but if we're there. So
AI just took out Steel Rain. So
I believe he had to go pick up his daughter from school. So yeah, we are getting close to the end of the show. I mean, look, like I said, this was a very heavy Xbox news day for a load of reasons. If you're not excited, I'm not going to try and stoke your fires for you. If what we talked about today doesn't get you excited, then I don't know what will. Yes. Have they had some missteps? Sure. Did they shoot themselves in the foot? Maybe. Did they step on a couple of rakes? Possibly. But you cannot argue that come May 28th, when Hellblade 2 drops, it is going to be the start of the onslaught for Xbox. Now, granted, I know that they have been talking about for years that they want the one per quarter. And I believe that you're going to see that starting the end of the year. You're going to get the one per quarter, and you're going to get the one per quarter starting next year because they have all the games to release. Now, I'm not making excuses for them. If they fail to deliver, guess what? We'll let them know about themselves because they didn't deliver. But I'm sorry to say, Gears news, Bethesda news. We have obviously the showcase confirmed. It's one of the out of the three bigs. They're the only ones. Is Sony going to have a show? I don't know. Is Nintendo? Who the heck knows? Because they're not. Will they show the console? It might behoove them to do that. And Sony doesn't have anything. Does Sony spend millions of dollars on a show just to show up the PS5 Pro that they don't have a launch game for? I don't know if they do that. Especially when you're bleeding money like they're doing. They don't have anything coming this fall. Hell, they don't have anything into the March 2025. So
springtime, yeah.
They just they don't have anything. That's a them problem. But let's get everyone out here again. Shout out to Steel Rain, one half of Living Split Screen. Obviously, you can find him and Pong Soul Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. on his YouTube channel. All of his information will be in the show notes. So after you're done watching, just click and subscribe to his channel. We'll get Hargeet out here. Hargeet, obviously, will be back talking about a lot of this. Not all of it, because we talked a lot today, but tomorrow night on Primetime Gaming, I'm sure there's going to be some more information that comes out the way of the showcase. We have a bunch of stuff to get into. Sell the brand of not only Gaz and Asa and Game On Daily, but you, my friend, have written a book, which is right behind you. Please drop the link into the private chat so I can send it to everyone. If you want to read a book that was written by the man on your screen, you can support him, and I'm sure he'll tell us about where he can do that. I got the link here. Thank you so much. Sell the brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can buy your new book.
Yep. Well, check out Game On Daily, youtube.com/Game On Daily. We have our Go Live show every Saturday at 4 p.m. US Eastern Time. I was on last week. It was a fun little episode of Gaz and I going back and forth. But yeah, so check that out. And then I will be on tomorrow with Boom on Primetime Gaming at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. On this channel, and then I will be on C Money and Doodle's channel, On Point for Gamers, on Friday at 6 p.m. US Eastern Time on Night Shift. So check those out, and then Fawn's Gaming on Sunday at 6 p.m. US Eastern. We do our Games Talk Live, and yeah, I wrote a book. It's Emergence. You can go to shop.china.us. If you want to get a signed copy, there's some bundles there. If you want to just get the book, there's links to go to Amazon or Lulu to pick it up. So go ahead and order a copy. And yeah, I guess hopefully people will be interested in the book. I'll throw this piece up there. I don't know if it will show. I'll just turn off my background thing and it'll hopefully show to people. And this is what the book is about. Hopefully it'll become clear. There we go.
It's clear. There you go.
And it became unclear.
In a world. You should have me do the foreword and I can read it and they can hear that as a...
Yeah, there you go. Go for
60,
it.
Was it 69 million years ago? I can't see the rest. I'm sorry.
Well, listen,
65 million years ago, a meteor crashed into Earth, causing a mass extinction event that wiped out the dominant dinosaur species. But what if that didn't happen? Oh, Lord, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Hopefully that's enticing. Hopefully people want to read it. Enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And thank you. Thanks for jumping in. It was super appreciated. Didn't expect you to be here, but you were here. And obviously you're usually here for breaking news. And we had a lot of that today. So thank you so much. Crazy Lou Gaming. Sell the channel of the Xbox International podcast where they can subscribe. Check that out and potentially watch you do a review while you're taking a shower.
Oh, do a review in the shower? Man, I'm going to have to be waterproofing my console, man, to do that. I mean, that's going to be a tough one, man. Well, already had...
We were at Diddy time right there with the shower washing. Hold on, what's going on?
I already had the PS5, but I had the PS5 on the skillet the other day, so I don't know.
And you also were using it as a footrest, by the way.
Oh, it was comfortable, to be honest. So I got comfy with it, watching TV. I mean, damn. I just had to use it. But anyways, where can you find the crazy one? You can find me at Twitter X at Crazy Louie Gaming, where I do all sorts of crazy stuff. And I hanging out with you guys here on Tuesday, of course, here hanging out with you guys, we're here, man, at the Xbox Factor Podcast. And Wednesdays, the Xbox International Podcast at 7 p.m. ET with Soundblow, the Big Plume, and Silent Cypher. And not only that, this week we have some amazing guests. I mean, we got Elaine. She's a developer, and her husband, which he is also a developer. I mean, we're going to have a fun show. We're going to be asking questions about developing because, hey, we got to get some stuff out here cleared, especially with what's going on with the hardware and the console, man. Stuff that we simply might not understand and learn from them. And also, I started a new segment. It's called Good Morning with Crazy Louie. I do this every day there's news. I hop on for 20 minutes to hang out with the chat. You can find that at the Xbox International Podcast on the YouTube channel. That's where you can find the crazy one.
Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. As always, an Infinite Umber. Let's sell your brand, sir. You have a show called The Fix Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you and, of course, Daniel McGee break down, well, all of the news. Not only do you talk about video games, but you talk about wrestling as they were, or wrestling as they like to say. And listen, there's a lot to like about the show. It's candid conversation. And obviously, you do talk about wrestling. You talk about gaming. You talk about pop culture. New movie stuff. Marvel has a lot of stuff going on right now. X-Men 97 is dope AF.
Wesley Snipes allegedly is returning as Blade.
He is returning for the multiverse saga, and he's reprising the role of Blade, which is freaking awesome. Sell the brand. Tell where people can subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, find you on other programs as well as reach out to you on social media.
Yes, indeed. To reach out on social media, you guys will find me on Twitter, X, Infinite Umbra, or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. Shout out to you guys, and Harky. Thanks for joining us, brother, and Steel. As far as where else you can find me, of course, The Fix is Boom illustrated for you guys, 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays. The Fix, myself, Daniel McGee. And sometimes we do solo dolo, just me and him. And sometimes we'll have a rotating list of guests, be it from anybody from the community on up. I kind of tend to not to want to bug anybody. So sometimes we'll do solo. But if, it's a decent conversation, I think that needs somebody who knows their stuff, like a legendary Yobi, for instance, who was a big wrestling fan. I might reach out to Yobi. I might reach out to Dusty, our brother Dusty, I might, so things of that nature, but also too on shows and movies and all of that. We talk about it all. So if you guys are interested in that type of talk outside of just gaming, which I'm sure you are, being the multifaceted, talented people that you guys are in the chat, you see me buttering you all up to make you come through. So definitely come through and join us in the discussion. As far as, also on Fridays, of course, it's the no longer the Xbox Infinite, just Infinite Podcast on Fridays at 8 o'clock Eastern. That's Brisket for the Biscuit, myself, that Blue Number, and Dante Moody, or also rotating Garuda Intruder. So come through, guys, and check us out. I think you'll enjoy it. As far as what I'll be up to past that, I'm jumping back into some Stellar Yams. So I will venture out and see you guys later. Chat, you all have a good day.
Yes, enjoy. And thanks so much for being here, part of the show, obviously. And a big thank you to all the super chats that came in the way of super chats and channel memberships. They allow for us to do all of the giveaways. And obviously, FYI, everyone I had messaged already, all the coin winners have their coins in the mail. There's just one that has to go to the UK that I will mail either today or tomorrow. And again, I cannot wait for everyone to get their coins. And this is something we're going to be doing probably once every other week, because it is costly. The shipping is expensive. But everyone that wins does get their coins. And a lot of the super chats that come in, we do use it for that. We use it for prize giveaways. We do it for the shipping, because again, shipping isn't cheap, as well as keeping up to date with the artwork for the channel and all of the programs that keep this channel rolling. So before we get out of here, I want to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.